Okay, this is session 2 of Dungeon World Sunday, the Song of the Milk White Putrescence. And we've had no discussion about the Milk White Putrescence so far in 3 hours of play. I suspect it's going to be that way for a little bit until you have to go succumb to it or die or destroy it. So anyway,
Wait,
no, I
what?
don't know. So here's the deal. Garrett is not with us right now. We don't know where he's at. He may join in on the call in a minute, in which case we'll catch him up. Before we begin, though, like always, I want to do a quick recap of what happened last time. I want to talk a little bit about like where I'm at in terms of my front creation and stuff. That's something new I'm doing. I really like it. And then if you guys have any ideas for scenes, I want to get those on the table up front so we can maybe find ways to work them in. So the last thing we saw, basically the first session was just my standard Dungeon World perilous journey, getting to know you party bonding session. Okay. But we did learn a few things in terms of like what you guys are aiming for in terms of the fiction with your characters based off the establishing questions that I laid out. And I want to talk about those real quick in terms of like my prep and what more I need from you guys. So, David, for your character, we had this idea of this mage, Isabella Vergastrider, who is somebody you know who moved to Frostdale, village of Frostdale.
Yeah.
And went sort of like radio silent, whatever that means in the setting. And you are there, obviously, to investigate the idea of there being a keeper in Frostdale, but also like if you can learn about that too, that'd be great. Isabella Vergastrider, totally worked her into my fronts. I don't need anything else. As far as the Shadow Court goes, for your character, Weary, Fraser, and this group of Templars who hunt them, that's all sorted. Don't worry about it. It's all good to go. Incorporated into fronts. Same thing with Garrett's whatever this thing that he believes is in the temple. This I will recap the quote we were given was the brown spirit of disobedience. That is also sorted in my fronts. Is ready to go. The only thing that's hanging out there still, and which I want to develop just a little bit more before I really push it forward, is this idea of the saint, Kravis, for you. This idea of this saint who was previously a Templar in your order, Kravis, and who engaged in some pretty gruesome tortures, we're led to believe. I think this character, I can't remember the character's name, I have it in my notes, but in any case, we alluded to last time of this idea that you are interested in finding him because he actually knows where all the bodies are buried in terms of something bad that your order did, something like historically world setting important bad. I just need to know more about what that is. I was thinking about it a little bit over the week, but I think I want to just learn a little bit more from you about what that was. We can do that in fiction or we can do it out of character, but I think before I really push that front or push that as a story thread, I want to know just a little bit more about that. So yeah, any thoughts?
And I wanted to say something too. Garrett wanted to have like a flashback that when in that last thing where he read my memories in that last scene, and I've been thinking about that too, to give a little more backstory on the saint.
Oh, good. Okay, good. That's what I need. That's perfect.
Yeah.
So whenever Garrett joins us, if he does, we'll sort it out then. Okay, good. That's perfect. It's a great use of like his moves to do what I need right now. So, all right. But otherwise, as far as all that other stuff that we talked about, like during the establishing questions, that shit's ready to go. I just need you guys to go adventure and role play. But now let's talk about like flags and other things. In terms of like your flags, in terms of like scenes you'd like to have happen, as far as character development goes, is there anything that's sticking out to you guys that you want to do either this session or the next session? Something you want us to kind of build up to? Let me know. If you don't have any ideas yet, be thinking about it for sure.
I just need to read through everyone's flags again real quick.
Yeah, go through them real quick. Take a look for the opportunities. I mean, what's going to be happening at the outset of the second session is you guys are arriving in Frostdale, and this is going to be essentially downtime. I mean, there's going to be an unfurling mystery, which I will unfurl in the time and manner of my choosing, and or the time and manner of the 6 minus results choosing. That's going to get unfurled, but it's going to feel like a sort of slow burn village mystery initially. Okay, this is not going to be like running around fighting and shit. Okay, and so you're going to have some time to kind of like break these scenes out if you want to do that for your characters.
Okay, Lowell and David definitely have easy ones that I think would be really fun, like the threaten to harm an enemy so that he can step in, and then also the get me to stay still, or pretty much all of David's are pretty easy, it looks like.
Yeah, you open up the sheet real quick.
I added a third too because I had just picked 2 last time, so just to round that out.
Okay, let me check out the third one.
Oh, in an institution.
Need to challenge your faith in an institution. Huh?
Like someone else has the faith in institution, or we don't believe in institutional faith and you want to challenge that.
Like if you're like, oh yeah, my guild or whatever help us out, and I'm like, nah.
Oh, I see. Good.
You're screwed.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we'll just go to my church.
Ironic,
Nope,
right?
they can't help. Nope, nobody can help you.
I find that somewhat ironic, considering that like you are the tool of the biggest institution in the setting, right? I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I know
like-
I'm a tool.
right.
I know. I'm just gonna be like pointing to yours and be like, "Your folks will help us, right?"
Nope, they'll themselves. I feel
Yeah, it's like a nihilistic Templar or something.
David's second one seems like a great scene setup, because he's already presumably impressed you with your magic, right? Especially if we can figure out a way to like tie in like someone's like personal motivations into like maybe getting some insight from Logan about like how, you know, how magic might be helpful or something. I don't know, but that seems like a pretty easy one. Archon or Kravis, that third one is super interesting. I'm really interested in seeing how that plays out. We don't have Archon on the table yet. Weary, here we go. Oh yeah, the name one, that's super simple, right? Like
Yeah.
I think there should be an ongoing thing too. Like I think you should give a different story every time somebody asks you about that.
I will. Yeah, it'll be the joker. You want to know how I got these scars?
I also like the idea of you like really conspicuously like suggesting people should ask you about it, right? Do you know why I'm called Weary?
Yeah.
Have I ever told you that story?
Yeah, Weary. Strange name, huh?
Yeah,
You'll never guess what you're calling Weary.
exactly.
I'm into it. Okay, cool. Well, so everything's still a little sketchy in terms of like what's happening in the story. So I just want to make sure everyone's got some of that stuff in their mind as we proceed. Let's see here. Okay, I think we're good to go. Let's do a couple scenes and then we'll take a quick short break. In terms of like explaining where Archon is, really easy. He needs to wander in the forest to go commune with spirits. And will rejoin us whenever he'll be done, whenever he joins us. And if he's gone for long enough, we'll have him do a love letter. So, all right. So, yeah. You guys just arrived in Frostdale. Oh, do we have our picture board? Does anybody have that link still? I don't know. I saved it. I don't know.
It's in the pictures, isn't it? There's a picture file in the folder.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's probably right.
Yep.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, cool. Let's open that up. I do quite like this picture, actually. Okay, so Frostdale. You know, all things considered, it's a pretty well-kept village. It like I mentioned last session, it's managed to really it's found its niche, right? It's a crossroads between the southern lands where you are all from and the lands further in the north of the Lenorm men. The Lenorm men, so named because they are each tribes whose legendary founders are supposed to have slain a Lenorm, which is a giant, like ancient dragon worm thing, right? And and the wealth of each of those tribes has been handed down. It's all like body parts of the Lenorm, right? Oils and bones and things. And so they act as like a sort of a crossroads between like the South and those people. And they also produce Frostale, which is their main like sort of homegrown export. And some people strenuously argue that it should be called Frosted Ale, so that it's a play on the name of the town as well. But don't ever get caught up in the middle of an argument about that between two people who strenuously disagree, because it's a problem. But otherwise, like they're simple folk. They're simple and industrious. Let's put it that way. Okay, simple but industrious. There's a single inn. I haven't thought of the name yet. Anybody have any ideas for a name? Let's do classic inn naming formula. The adjective, noun, right?
Oh man,
like the Ice House or something like that.
I like that. Maybe the something Ice House.
the Frosty Tankard Ice House.
Frosty Tankard. That's pretty good. All right. Seems like a pretty low bar to clear in Frostdale for the tankards to be frosty. People walk in and see the sign and say, "Well, I should hope so," and then proceed into the inn and pub. That's going to be the place where if you're from out of town, you'll be expected to. That's where you can get a room, and that's where you can stay. It's probably about, like, in terms of rooms, it's probably fewer than 20 rooms. Because this is still a fairly remote part of the world, and it doesn't have like when groups come, they come in, it's more like periodic. It's not like constant flow of people, right? So if someone is in the town on business, it's noted, right? Like people will know and be aware of it. People will be aware of you, right? It's that kind of, that pace of flow of people through the town, right? And so as you guys are entering Frostdale, Archon's wandered off. I just want to go around the table and find out what you will each be doing, what your first move is here. I think you arrive late in the afternoon. It looks a lot like, as you come over the ridge, it looks a lot like it does in that picture. Let's start with Logan. What will you be up to?
I'm going to be inquiring about my lost acquaintance.
Yeah, that's good. I like it. Weary, what about you?
I think I'm going to try to send word to my order, since we weren't able to hook up. And I like the idea of in every town there's a guild member kind of thing, and they take care of pigeons, but the pigeons that we send are like black doves that carry notes instead of white ones. And it's kind of like that last Mission Impossible movie where you're giving them code sentences and they're replying until they know that you're the part of the guild kind of thing, right? When he's asking for the album, and it's Coltrane, jazz, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
That thing.
So it's like a word association thing, It's like, okay, I say a thing, and then you tell me the thing. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is super interesting. I have a follow-up question on that, just so I know how to frame this up. Are they so this is an inconspicuous thing, nevertheless, right? It's not like you just oh yeah, go. He's across the square there. That's where the Shadow Court representative is. Nothing like that.
No, yeah, but I think it's in plain sight. Maybe you go to a crowded market and you go to a specific bazaar where the guy is selling doves or whatever. And
this town's probably can't support a market or a bazaar, but they I think they probably do have a market day, right, where maybe in the square, people who have something to sell will gather, and it's once a week. So.
I have an idea. Maybe it's somebody who's actually tending a church is in there, and whatchamacallit, one of the priests is actually one of ours or something, and infiltrated and then they're at the roof tending the pigeons or whatever.
Love it. Perfect. What about you, Crevice?
So I probably switch into my other boots, the ones that have little bits of metal on the bottom, that make that sort of clinking, clacking, almost spurs-like noise.
Right, yeah.
And then I go and I'm going to walk around the town to get a sense of what the layout is, but more importantly, be seen and be ominous.
Good.
So people are like, "Oh, fuck! I think there's a Templar in town."
And yet my mind just goes to that one song, "My spurs, they jingle, jangle, jingle."
but they should hear me walking before I show up, that kind of slow dwarven pace.
Yeah, they're all looking around. Where is he?
That's good. Let's start with that. Give me a DR. Let's get a DR on the table. Let's see how that goes.
Okay. So let me pull this up and gotta get the roll and actually check my wisdom, which is here. Oh, Dice Stream, you have betrayed us. Where did you go? So that's +1. So that is a 4.
Oh, a 4. All right. Hold
Wait,
that.
hang on. Let me go down. No, it's a 9. Sorry, I was up
Oh.
last session where I effed up.
How'd it go from a 4 to a 9?
Yeah, I was way scrolled up.
Oh, got it. Okay. Awesome. So you'll get. Maybe depending on like what the order of things are here, is it possible you got help from somebody? Like it just Logan or Weary? Do you want to be involved? In that?
I'll be wandering with him.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's particularly kind of freaking out people.
Well, and you're also kind of looking for someone, right? So you have a reason to be kind of roaming around. And
I like the idea that like it's like clink, 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 and then like everyone's like scattering, and I'm like, "Excuse me, can you tell? Excuse me."
Well, so that begs the question. I mean, Kravis, it sounds like maybe you have some sort of like vestment or some kind of symbol or something you wear that lets people know like what order you're a part of, so that people are like, "Oh, fuck, like he's in town, that means something bad's going on," right?
Oh yeah, that's the armored duster that I have.
Okay, good. All right.
So it's an inquisitorial. I picture it as kind of a dark gray long coat.
Good. Yeah, I like that. That's pretty classic, right? Okay, go ahead and roll plus wisdom, Logan, to aid. We'll see how that bumps the roll up.
All right. I have a mid result.
All right, cool, perfect. So that bumps you up to a 10. So you're going to get 3 questions. Feel free to toss one of those to Logan if you wish. Hold that thought, though. Weary, do you already know that where this cat can be found? Is it something you know, like going in here, or what?
Since it's like the inverted church like theme going on, maybe it's like the only church in every town that has like that like French Gothic horror look or something to it.
Okay, right. Yeah, it's like a real specific. Like, it feels like it kind of feels like though that like the order that hunts you, if they learned that bit of information, that would be really problematic for the entire Shadow Court, right?
It's just one of
yeah, always go to the church that's like built in this particular style. Maybe it's something a little more subtle, I would suggest, like a marking on the church or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Secret symbol.
Ooh, maybe it's like another Dan Brown thing where, I know. So it's just like in what I can't remember what time period it was, but when they defaced all the statues in Europe, with all the remember they like cut off everyone's genitals and all that kind of stuff, right?
Oh yeah, so maybe like because the Shadow Court people will change their faces. What do you think of this? Like maybe like the statues are like either defaced or they have like weird like the eyes have been replaced with something, or like something like that, right? I think
yeah, exactly. I like the idea of it being defaced, like a chunk out of it, or even some of them are like completely smooth,
faceless.
Stuff good. Like that.
I love it. Yeah, that's great. So you can find that place. What can I put you there? All right, so you guys are you're just split, I think, at this point. So go ahead with your question, Kravis. We got questions.
So I think the first thing I kind of want to know is, as we're walking around, we're seeing people getting an eye, what the populace is like, and essentially I'm looking for who here is useful or valuable to me. Either the person who runs fastest or the person who sticks around and is kind of watching as they go around, kind of looking for an unusual, potentially useful source.
And with the principal mission here being locating the keeper, right? Is that the idea?
Yeah. Keeper's your job one.
Oh yeah. Okay, good. So I think I don't know how, I don't know if it has more to do with their I don't think it has anything to do with their particular reaction or non-reaction to you. It has more to do with the fact that they are, you see a person, a young man, he is leaning up against I think there's just a fence, outside of a building, maybe it's just some kind of house or something. And he's kind of leaning up against the fence, and he has a tablet of writing paper, super rare, right? And for him to have having paper is pretty rare, especially in an environment like this. And he is furiously dipping a feather into a pot of ink, he has precariously perched on the post of the fence and writing something in scratching some stuff out on this paper. It's really it just seems unusual. It just seems it really stands out, right? Who is this person? He looks like he's he's dressed pretty drab, very simply, kind of farm type, hunter-gatherer type clothes, but he's got this parchment, and he's got this ink, and he's furiously scribbling away at something. And he's really caught up in that to the point where he doesn't notice you, right? Coming through. It's unusual.
Okay, so can Mark him get a sense of what area he's at, so that I can follow up later, maybe get a name, that kind of thing.
Take note of it, because you'll get a +1 forward if you follow up later on. So.
Yeah. And let me see then. Logan, why don't you take the second one?
Okay. If you don't mind, I'd like to do a follow-up on that, and with a little magical flair, if that's cool with our GM.
I'm into it. Just what are you aiming for here?
I think
what's your question, first of all?
My question would be, what here is not what it appears to be.
Perfect.
And it would basically how I'm helping, and what that would look like on screen is all of a sudden all of his sheets get whipped out of his hands.
Good. I love it.
And swirl around me, and I look at them quickly, and then they all return to him.
And I think there's a moment where he's oh hell, and he's oh, and he's flailing around trying to catch them or whatever. And every time he tries to catch one, a sheet just flies just out of his hand's grip, he lunges for one, and it just just gets out of grip, and he's just stumbling around, and and then you said it all just kind of swirls back into his hands.
Yeah, after each sheet has passed in front of my face.
Good. He's writing down some shit that's really at a glance, you're not even sure what it is. It looks like really, really complex math, I guess, symbols, things that you as a wizard or a mage recognize, but there's no way in hell anybody Frostdale should know this kind of stuff. Formulas, equations.
Yeah, I look at Kravis and that man is getting up to something strange.
So, for that paper chase spell, do you have to learn that, or is that all you just modify stuff? Because that seems really specific.
David and I both being lawyer and lawyers, that's really funny.
That's like a cantrip. Have you heard of a cantrip?
Is that like a dance?
Yeah, it's like a dance. No, it's nothing like a dance. It's like one that you get for free. It's just easy. Like snapping. Like if you can snap,
like a cheap whore? Wait.
No, it's not. No, not like a cheap whore. It's like you can
cantrips are the cheap whores of spellcasting.
Like you know how like some people can roll their tongue and some people can't.
Really?
Never mind.
Didn't know that.
That was good. All right. That'll probably be good for the end of the session, hitting a thing. I'm going to cut away in the middle of that. I'll come back for the third question later. So Weary, tell me about the statuary that you see. Oh, I think to make it super extra interesting, I think the statues actually like pointing at the church that you need to go to, right? Like I feel like nobody else would pick up on that, right? But you do.
Yeah.
How's it defaced?
I think this one was like maybe there's like a history plaque on it or whatever, and it used to have like a mouth that was screaming, and it offended a lord, so they took off his mouth, so
Nice.
he couldn't scream anymore. And so his eyes are like wide, as if surprised, and like pointing to the church.
Nice, good. I love it. The church itself is it's a pretty simple affair. I mean, it has a wooden roof, so that's something, and it's mason stone, which is good. Otherwise, fairly simple. I think it has like it has like this. The most common religion in the setting is the Church of Perfected Man, and it is. Just to give you guys a little bit of lore on that, because it's not super interesting for the adventure, but it's, I guess, interesting as a general matter. Basically, adherents of this church believe that a long time ago, a perfect man and a perfect woman, a brother and a sister, a husband and a wife, duality type gods, Oron and Lunon, sun and moon, they came to the earth and basically dragged humans out of their caves and taught them how to be. And now everything is about like achieving that like state of perfection that Oron and Lunon, the sun and the moon, had, right? And so the symbol is a stylized, it's like a stylized sun and moon, like kind of geometrically arranged on top of one another, right? But like inside a square, because square is perfect. And so you see that symbol, right? Really standard, totally ubiquitous, right? As far as like whatever local saint they venerate here, who the fuck knows? But the local saints are like, oh, I achieved. They're always connected to like whatever that community is known for. So like if it's a community of like beekeepers or whatever, that's their main trade, then their saint will be the saint who achieved perfection through the gathering and tending of apiaries, right? Like that's that's how the local communities translate the religion, right?
Right.
Here, I'm sure it has some long ago saint who first invented frost ale, right? That kind
exactly.
Of
yeah.
So anyway, but that's the church. That's it. It's pretty simple. It's almost like they don't even have like regular meetings. Like that's not ubiquitous in the religion. It's okay to have a sort of like personal relationship with the saints and with the gods. You go to the church mostly just to when you need like more direct sort of communion and you need like other like care and aid that churches provide, right? You know, more of a welfare kind of place than a sort of like place to congregate and worship. So with that in mind, what do you
do? If there is a bell tower for like sending messages with pigeons and doves and stuff, I'll go there. And if not, then I like the idea of having to signal somebody in a confessional.
Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, that's perfect. Let's do that.
Okay.
So you go inside, and I think they have. I think there's basically just like it's more of a shrine than like a church, right? Like there's a statue of Oron and Lunon, and beneath them, positioned like in the traditional like arrangement of husband, wife, and child. The child is the saint that is venerated in this community, right? And there's maybe a couple of benches and prayer plinths for people who want to go and pray directly at the altar. But there's also like a little booth where you can go and it's occupied most times. If not, it'll be occupied shortly after you enter, and you basically get to discuss. You get to have an open, frank conversation about your imperfection, right? Whoever is there, but you're there for different reasons. So, what's the lead here? Like, what's the word that you say that gets that, like, to figure out, like, oh yeah, like this is a person of the Shadow Court. How do you begin that conversation?
Maybe it's like asking for a confession in a strange way. Oh, like I say that I had a really like a terrible dream, and I need to talk about my dream, and then the dream will be about like going to a bell tower and seeing a black dove kind of thing, right? And then they're like,
yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's perfect. And if the person you're talking to is the member of the Shadow Court, they'll respond appropriately and let you know that they hear you, and you guys can speak a little bit more openly and freely. If it's not, you'll just get standard sort of like hand wavy administration about your dream, right? So
yeah. Say more Hail Marys.
Exactly right. So you've got the guy, and like all good members of the Shadow Court, you can look through the little mesh window into the booth at him. But if you do, you'll see that, like, as your eye like travels and focuses on the mesh and moves across it, you'll see that, like, the appearance of this person looks just a little bit different each time. It's like a sort of honeycomb pattern of like changing face, right, in a way. And this is just a natural sort of thing of the Shadow Court, right? Particularly high level members of the Shadow Court, right? People who've been in it a long time. And so I guess the follow-up question is, what are you intending to do here?
I just want to let them know that this is like my current position, so that if they need to reach me, I'm here, kind of thing, because we obviously missed each other on the road before.
Yeah. He says, brother, you will want to take care, for we've heard rumor that a light caller is behind you coming to Frostdale. We don't know if he's following you specifically, but he's here to do what he does. Light callers are that order that hunt you. Okay. He says, be mindful of it. I will have my eyes open as well. The light callers, they are very good at remaining hidden, ironically enough, until they wish to draw you out, in which case you will not be able to miss them.
I'll stick close to the other abomination I walk with.
Indeed. That's it. I think it's good. You can put on notice that there is a light caller following behind. Okay.
Right.
Third question, Kravis. What do you got for me?
I'm like continuing the conversation from before. Like, Kravis, I'm going to put it in terms that you'll understand. Okay. You know how some people cannot grow full beards? They're very patchy beards.
Oh, yes.
Yes. This is like that. That man is like a man who cannot grow a beard at all, yet he finds himself with all kinds of trimming tools for beards. Why does he have them?
Oh, does it all make sense now, Kravis?
I don't know. I can't imagine anyone not having trimming tools. That's just wrong.
Imagine that this is a world where only 1 in 1,000 men can grow beards, and that man has no beard and has trimming tools.
Okay, so should we watch this guy further, or should we keep moving around?
Well, I'm just trying to let you know what the situation is with that man.
Okay, so that's sort of mumbo jumbo, magic-y stuff. So we'll put that in your basket. Does that seem cool?
All right. Just,
Okay.
You see him around.
Oh, yeah, no. I got my eye on.
And out of
him.
character, to be perfectly clear, what you saw, Logan, was not necessarily like arcane script, but it was like notation and symbology of an academic sort. Okay,
right.
Does that make sense? Like, so not necessarily magic.
Right, not arcane, but definitely like way beyond
his scope. Right.
Yeah.
Let's finish the town circuit, and then later, if you want, I'll back you up if you want to go and approach that guy. How does that sound?
All right, that should be good enough. I don't expect he'll be moving from that spot for some time.
Okay. My other sort of question is both using Logan's knowledge and my own. As we're walking around, I want to see if there's anything out of place. So my question is sort of what's happened here recently. If we see any signs of infighting or signs of magic or anything like that that stand out for us.
Yeah, there definitely is.
Who?
In fact, there's a funeral going on when you arrive. There's someone being buried. There is a sort of like community graveyard. It's not associated with one particular church because people in this region worship both. They follow both the teachings of the perfected man and woman, but they also like have a lot of the sort of like pagan beliefs of the Lenorm clans as well. And so, just to keep things peaceable, there's just a secular community graveyard, right? But yeah, there's some kind of like funeral going on, and as you pass through, you can see that some of the people who are there grieving, or well, really, there's some people just outside the line of mourners who are also like chatting furiously and angrily because like it seems like however this person died, it was sudden and unexpected and violent. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Then I think we'll we've marked that other guy. We know who he is. I want to mark these chatty, gossipy folks for later, for the wake, for the inn, that kind of thing, to hit them up. And I'll point those out to Logan as well, who's probably already kind of pulling the whispers over to him.
Yeah, dude. Well, so if you guys want to meet back up, you can. Otherwise, if you have another idea about where you head from here.
No, I can meet back up, but I want to end that conversation with him by saying the light always threatens and I am always weary, so that it's like the audience is like, oh, maybe that's why his name is Weary, and then the next time I'm like messes with it or whatever.
I love the idea of you also being very conspicuous with the audience about like inquiring about what Weary means.
Exactly. Just look into the camera and wink.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think on his way out, just for like the end of the dramatic scene, his cape sort of like billows through the entrance to the church, and it blows out like all of the candles with the lights on them.
Nice.
And then he walks out. And then I'll go meet up with those guys.
I just want to say that like I love how it's almost like camp how like heavy metal you all are, like there's a thick layer of like fantasy metal going on,
Yeah,
I'm into it. All right, so I'm into it. Well, so where do you guys go from there? I mean, eventually, like after your walkabout and all that, like the sun will start to get low in the sky, particularly because you're in a mountainous region. Like it gets darker a little faster, right? And so much of the community will end up at the Frosty Tankard Ice House. We'll just say the Frosty Tankard. And I think like you guys can go there or not, but like you will see that little detail of like there's like the little hanging like sign, and a lot of people like walk by and like they kind of like use the hilt of their, if they have a sword, that'd be rare, but like whatever, like tool or walking stick or whatever they've got, or just their hand, they like pop it, and they'll say like, "Well, I should hope so," and then they walk inside, right? As they tap the Frosty Tankard sign.
It's like we're in like the champagne area, right? Where we're like, this is the only place you can get real frosted ale, right?
Right, yeah,
all those other people, they can't technically call it because it comes from this region.
Right, yeah, exactly, right. Yeah.
You can only have a real frosted tankard here.
Yeah.
There's a whole nother Templar order just to enforce that.
Right, exactly. I like the idea of a world where like every grudge or fascination or fixation has like an order of Templars that goes out and beats the shit out of people and kills people to enforce it. Awesome. Okay, good. This is great. All right. Well, all right. So yeah, the sun is low in the sky. It's definitely getting to be evening time. You guys don't have your accommodations yet. Where do you guys go?
I like the idea of us just having like dinner in this area and talking, maybe having like a conversation, because I want to sort of rub it in Kravis's place that I went to church and prayed today and he did not.
I'm into that. Well, so you can get a table at the Frosty Tankard. There's plenty of food.
And we'll grab like a servant or something, and I'll flash some coin and I'll say, we're going to need rooms. Pay you extra coin. Go and get those set for us.
So the woman, it's a woman who runs the Frosty Tankard, and she's both the barkeep and the kind of runs the front of the house, as well as like divvies up the rooms and things. Her name is going to be, we should call her Selma. I'll type that. We should probably put that in the notes somewhere. Let's see here. Let me find my notes. There we go. Her name is Selma. She's kind of like a middle age for the setting, like mid to late 30s, and she's kind of simply dressed, straight brown hair, an easy laugh and smile though. Like a lot of people come in, they know her, she knows them. She's a pillar of the community, right? And if you guys come in, she'll see you and she'll say, I don't know if I want to go with Master Dwarf. I'm not going to do that, but she'll say, she'll say, a servant of the church. You are, of course, very welcome, sir, in the Frosty Tankard.
Thanks, much appreciated. My companion and I need rooms. Can we make those arrangements with you?
She's like, of course. She's like, would you like a single room with 4 beds, or would you like individual rooms? I've got both.
A single room is fine. No need to be ostentatious.
A single room with 4 beds is 2 coin a night, and just toss her 2 coin if you got it.
Do any of us have coin?
Did anybody take their 13 coin at the start of the further gear selection?
I took adventuring gear.
Or collateral will do too.
Maybe Kravis can just throw his weight around as a Templar.
Possibly, yeah. Surely you guys will have a coin somewhere. I
don't think a single one of us has coin.
Let's go with something else then.
How much do antitoxins sell for around here?
Yeah, I mean barter is fine too. Anything of equivalent cost.
Yeah,
you can maybe purchase for you can you can barter for a week stay.
Ooh, I know. What about if on the way out of the church I swiped a coin from the giving box or whatever, and then I give it to them?
Just rob the giving box.
Yeah, I'll take that. You like the that's perfect. Like the sort of
the tithe box,
the tithe, or the offertory, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you grab a couple coins from there. That'll handle the first night for sure. Okay. So all settled. So yeah, she's like, she gives you the key to the room and tells you where it is. It's a 2-story inn. All the rooms are on the upper floor. Basically you go up some stairs and you can look down into the first floor, which is where the long tables are, where people are dicing and drinking and having a good time. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll point out if if any of those people who were sort of gossiping are down there, we'll point those out to Weary. And we'll also see if Logan has spotted the scholarly guy.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Before you leave, though, someone will say, she'll say, before you head out to your rooms, like, you should stay, have a drink, have one of Frostdale's famous frosted ales. They're delicious.
Like
a couple of people at the bar look over and give her a really ugly look.
That sounds exquisite.
Yes, you simply must get one for my friend here. He's quite weary of the road.
Yeah. I smile and nod, and I
like, you don't look weary at all.
Oh no, I assure you, he is weary.
It's a running joke.
A running joke for a weary person. Maybe that's why you're weary.
Nice.
I have my moments. Yeah. And speaking of her moments, your frosted ale is served in a manner so unusual. You've never seen anything like it. She has a lever behind her, and she flips that lever, and it causes the cask to, there's a mechanism that causes the cask to fill a mug, which is then delivered around on a conveyor belt along the bar.
Oh.
It's really something.
A different kind of sorcery. Yeah.
She's like, pretty clever, that, huh?
Yeah.
Very. I also have in my head, ever since Kravis said exquisite, all I'm gonna ever think about now is Brad Pitt in Inglourious Basterds doing the Arrivederci.
Yeah, so she delivers this frosted ale on this like conveyor belt system. And if you take a look, you'll see that like there's a network throughout the whole like main hall, like where she can set food and drink on, and like things can get delivered to tables via a very complex like roof network, or that kind of stretches across the upper over the drinking hall, like a complex system of like of belts and pulleys and things, right? It's a little extravagant. It's really, this is big time stuff. Like this is the kind of thing that like you've read stories about like in other distant lands, right? If even that. No way anybody in Frostdale should know this kind of thing, right? Or should have this kind of talent.
I stereotype it right away, and I'm like, must be dwarven craftsmanship.
Does it look new or old?
That's a good question. You are a dwarf. Do you have some of that old learning in you?
Yeah, of course. Before I got booted out. So.
Yeah, go ahead. Spout lore. I think it's more of a spout lore than a discernment.
Okay. And what's the roll for spout lore? Is that int?
Plus intelligence, yeah.
Plus int. Okay. Kravis, what's your int? Okay. We'll just roll 2d6 then. That's a 6. I don't know. Opus.
Yeah, I'm not sure that like I'm trying to think like what the aid justification would be here, but I don't think there is one because it's kind of hard to aid on spout lore. Yeah. You're kind of like checking this out. I'll give you some information. So as you're looking at this, like this contraption is so unusual. And I will tell you that it appears to have been, by looking at the ropes and looking at the stuff used, you can tell that it's relatively new. I would say probably built within the last few years, right? It's not like some ancient technology, if that's what you're asking. It's definitely not dwarven made. Dwarves are fine craftspeople, but like this is a mechanical sophistication that is really, really something. And it's not elven made either. It has this sort of like utilitarianness to it that doesn't make any sense in that context, right? This is human ingenuity.
I get a sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach because if this is keeper made, oh shit, I don't want to burn this place down.
While you guys are checking this thing out, while you're checking that out, you someone walks into the bar. A woman. She is short, reasonably short, even for a woman. I would say she's like, 5 feet or something, right? Something like that. Maybe a little taller. Short. Dressed in, she's got chainmail. She's got no particular markings or identifiers, but she's dressed in chainmail. And she's got a great big fussel, like as she is. It's huge. It's strapped to her back, big claymore. And she steps in and she kind of like loudly declares, she's like, barkeep, and she slams her hand on the bar. She says, I'll have a frost ale, please. And a couple of guys at the bar like give a approving nod, right, at that. And the drink comes, and Selma says, "Another person from out of town. Boy, I tell you what, this is quite an event. Very, very, very lively night." And we'll leave it there. Let's take a quick 2-minute break. I'm going to refresh my coffee, and we'll pick up this scene.
Cool.
got another jelly comb to try that out. The first one didn't work.
Like you had to get it replaced from Amazon or something?
Yeah, I got it and it didn't light up and it wouldn't activate. The mouse worked, but the keyboard didn't. So.
Oh, weird. The mouse I find is still like a little loud, but the mouse is perfect. Makes no sound at all. It's my favorite, especially after editing things.
Yeah. The Kickstarter page looks really good that you've got up right now. Looks nice.
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty good. It looks better than the first one, so that'll be good.
You mentioned this is the fourth Kickstarter. I know Worlds in Peril and The Veil. What's
Magicians.
The other one? Oh, Magicians. That's right.
Yeah, that was his first.
I'd forgotten that.
Magicians was actually going to be his dissertation for school, but in Korea they really they don't know what an RPG is at all, so they ended up not accepting his proposal, and then he made the game anyway. If you say RPG there, they're just like, are you talking about StarCraft? So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how well it does. I particularly hope that we hit the level where I can get Kira McGrand to make her thing, because I think that would be really cool.
I played with her once at Origins, and she was quite good.
Yeah. Yeah, she said that she was making a PBTA Cyberpunk game like a couple of years ago, but it doesn't seem like she's pursued it that much, maybe. Because I remember her billing it as like Cyberpunk with feels. So I was like, oh, that sounds good. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe she'll play test it at Origins or something, because she lives there, I think.
And she's in charge of the games on demand at Origins. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Who is this?
Kira.
McGrath.
Cool. She's on your project, isn't she?
Yeah, I have her at the 9K level, so hopefully we unlock that. My hope is that I can do like a few of those, like hit up maybe even like Banana Chan and Dana, who did the cyber feline thing for the Sprawl.
Nice.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, like maybe a couple other people.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. That'd be neat if it did that well.
I think it'll be successful. I have a feeling it will be. I mean, yeah, I think it's going to be great.
Yeah.
The page looks really good. I think the Kickstarter page looks great. It's looking really sharp.
Yeah, I wanted to have more production value than the first one.
Yeah.
See if that helps.
It matters. I think it matters. It really does. Like, because if you think about it, like you don't really have to sell the game to like people like us, right? Like I feel like we're not really the target. Right? Like the target is like all of those like casual people or curious people or cyberpunk people who stumble onto the page, right? I feel like those are the ones that like where the graphics and stuff really, really make a difference, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. We're all back. Yeah, so this short warrior woman with her big swords, almost as big as she is, she orders a frost ale, and the little contraption, like it kind of like her frost ale kind of like glides down, because I think it comes from a separate tankard, the frost ales. It glides down on a little like harness, and she takes it out, and she takes her claymore off her back, and she lays it down across the bar, and she's like gently rubbing her hands back and forth over the blade as if it were like a pet or some kind of like, like it's the only thing keeping her company tonight as she digs into her mug. Well, so what do you guys do? And the scene is set.
I think I'm gonna like get up and go to the washroom, but then do that thing that thieves do where they bump into you, and I'm gonna use like that distraction as a sort of like a probing mechanism to see if she's like got a whole bunch of, I don't know, maybe anything that would signify that she's like hunting me kind of thing on her.
I'm into that. I think it's probably like a defy danger dex, right? Or are you trying to pickpocket her, actually? Is that what you're doing?
Well, I don't want to take anything. I just want to probe her to see if she has anything that would indicate that she's looking for me or anything like that.
But not like verbally. Like you want to see something on her person, or she's carrying something. That's a pickpocket. Even if you don't keep it, you can.
Sure. Yeah.
Just roll plus dex.
Okay. Let's see if I can do a roll. I think last time I mostly failed.
And whoever's got that last missed roll, was that you, Kravis? I can't remember, but I just want to remind you to mark an XP if you didn't.
12. That's pretty good.
Nice. Yeah. Pretty good. You don't even need to get as far as like bumping into her. Like as you carefully walk past, keeping your ears open, you hear her like muttering to her claymore. She says, "Fear not, Shadowfucker. Tonight I drink deep from this cold mug of frost ale, but tomorrow you will drink deep of the blood of the faceless men." And she like throws it back.
Okay.
So, no, not even needed.
Yeah. Cool. I'm gonna continue on to like the washroom type thing and then come back as inconspicuously as possible.
Indeed. What about you, Kravis? What do you have to do?
Well, I watch her, and when he comes back, I saw him pass kind of very close by her, and I go, kind of lean forward and go, "So you into crazy then?"
You say that to Weary.
To Weary.
Yeah.
I do like the fake shocked look, like oh my kind of thing. But he's like, I just prayed today, as if I would, I'm a pious man, more pious than you.
Yeah. That'll get you a lot. You just keep on praying.
Nice. No faith in your own order, even.
Oh, I have faith in my order, because we got blades and stuff.
Nice.
All that praying on your knees must make you real weary.
Oh.
This is gonna turn into like a Xanth series.
What? All right, just out with it. Like, why do you call yourself Weary? Like, that cannot be your given name. Your mother did not name you Weary.
Okay, yeah, this would be. I have something prepared for this. So I take out my.
Are you guys at the table at this point? Just to figure we're out in space. Okay, all right.
Yeah, so I think we're like drinking, and the shot is I put there's a shot of the table, and I put that vial of that poison that I start with as a thief, and it's that stuff that puts people to sleep, and I think I put it down in the camera lens so that it overlaps that woman drinking. And I say that I'm been known to use this poison from time to time. It makes people sleep, but a little too much stops their heart altogether, and then the frame kind of like changes to her in focus instead of the front focus of the poison.
What does that have to do with being weary?
Yeah, what's your name?
Yeah,
do you get it, Travis? Did I miss it?
Is this like the beard trimmer thing? Because I'm not getting it.
No, this is nothing like the beard trimmer thing.
Everyone with their metaphors today.
I make people weary.
Yeah, you just did.
Yep. I'm pretty damn weary now too.
Yeah, I'll tell you that. Sleep tonight so you can get to sleep. Okay.
So while that's going on, while you guys are having that conversation, you will see Homeboy who was scratching away on his papers. He comes in, and everyone kind of like waves to him, like, hey, he's like, hey, there's a recognition, right? He's a local, and he's got like a little leather, like kind of like portfolio satchel thing, where he keeps his papers, presumably. And he comes in and he says, Selma, I'll have a frosted ale, please. And there's a din of grunts like throughout the room, right? When he says this from various people at various tables. And she serves it up to him. She's like totally within she's actually where she can grab the mug and just turn around and hand it to him, but they actually like wait for it to go across the little like conveyor belt across the bar because it's it's really something, huh? And then he grabs it and takes it and has his drink, right?
Here's another one who's likely weary. And I'm gonna get up and go and try and strike up a conversation with him.
Indeed. So yeah, he's drinking his frosted ale, and what do you say? What do you do?
So I've like hung my robes on like a coat rack or something because having billowing robes in a tavern is just a little too inviting for people to just approach you all the time and ask about it.
Yeah. In addition to being just like kind of
a little bit obnoxious, right? Yeah. So there's just like entirely too much cloth on that coat rack. But for me, it's just my collar moving a little bit, which is pretty inconspicuous.
Right. Yeah. Like rabbit ears.
Yeah. And I, belly up to the bar and I'm like, hey friend, I couldn't help noticing that you seem to know a lot about math and mechanisms and things. You wouldn't happen to know anything about this building, would you?
Math and mechanisms. I know some things, it's true, but I don't know no math.
Well, sure you do. I forgot to introduce myself, and I wipe my hand off and hold it out. Logan, I saw your work in the street earlier.
He's like, no, I'm real bad at it. Like when I go to buy frostberries at the market, I always have a hard time figuring out if they're ripping me off in terms of the change that I get.
But I saw your work, all your intricate detail.
Selma's like, he invented this, talking about the contraption that runs around the room.
And does he like acknowledge that, or
he's like, oh, it just came to me. Yeah, it was a small thing, really.
That's a lot of math. That's much more complicated than doing change for frostberries.
Well, I've got. And he looks a little nervous. He's like, who are you, friend?
Logan. And your name was? He's
like, I'm gonna give him a name, don't I? Pate. He says, oh, my name's Pate.
Well, Pate, you've got yourself a marvelous talent. I'd be dying to know who taught you.
Just in my former life, I was a torchbearer, go deep into the mountains. And when you're with groups of able-bodied, competent individuals doing their business, and your only job is to hold the torch and provide the light, you got time to think on things, You think on things, and then you begin to formulate things in your brain.
Oh, so you thought about all this when you were holding torches?
Well, a lot can come to you when you're just sitting there in torchlight.
Sure.
Waiting for the next thing to happen. Waiting to be called over to hold the torch, direct the torch.
Well, Pate, it's quite the inventive mind you have there. I don't suppose that you happen to start having these ideas after a particular adventure.
He's getting a little nervous. He doesn't want to talk about this anymore. You need to have some justification to keep him going here.
Selma, bring my new friend Pate here another ale.
Good move.
I'll kind of get up and stretch and go stand by the door. Oh, Inquisitor robes.
That's my friend Kravis, by the
way. He tortures people for fun and profit.
Drop a manacle, pick it up. Oops.
Yeah, I think that's a good justification for aid if we need it. Logan, roll plus. I think we'll just do social graces, charisma. I hate the parley move. I don't like parley.
Okay.
I just do defy nature charisma. If I ever was involved in DW2E, probably be the first thing to go.
Well, that's too bad because I can use a spell as justification for a parlay.
Oh.
What's my charisma? Okay.
Or a defy danger charisma.
Yeah, we'll add that right on in there. 8.
Okay. So the aid won't matter, but it's in the fiction. We'll keep it there. I think he like sees, he sees Kravis, and he's like, look, I don't want no trouble, right? I don't want no trouble.
There's no trouble. Just tell us.
He's looking a little nervous, and like, you'll notice also there are a couple of other people in the room who are like watching this transaction a little bit. Like, you notice it, Kravis, probably more than Logan does. Like, you see a couple of other people like kind of, they're clearly like looking to see what happens here between Pate and Logan, right? Like wondering like whether Pate's gonna like say something in particular or whatever. And Pate says, look, friend, I was already in my cups a bit before I came to the tankard. I'm a little, maybe in the morning at my place when I'm sobered up. He says a little quietly, like, I don't want to talk about this right now. Okay.
Absolutely. I'll be sure to find you at your place.
Right. He goes back and he goes back to his ale and he spins a cog nearby.
Yeah,
his handiwork.
I'll go back to our table. Our return from the bar to the table. Mm-hmm. What do you make of that, gentlemen?
I like nod over to the people that were paying a little bit too much attention, and I say, seems like Pate there can't talk in public. As I meaningfully nod.
Mm-hmm. Yes, well, Kravis, I'm sure that you have some idea of when he would like to talk and when you would like him to talk.
Well, yeah. So usually when this kind of thing happens in the past, when you call somebody out in front and there are other people in the room that don't want him to talk, he'll probably get rolled on his way home. So we might want to, when he goes, follow behind, or at least have Weary kind of stake him out, since Weary's all deft and stuff.
Yes, well, in that case, this is probably the last ale of the evening for me.
What?
I mean,
sad about it.
Have you grown weary of ale?
Oh my god. I'm gonna change my name.
And I will look at Weary at some point now that we are away from the bar, and I will say, is that woman someone we should be worried about?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I'd like to play them against each other. What do Templars like specifically like hunt and look for and want to like, kill kind of thing?
Whatever they're tasked with.
Yeah, so right now anybody that's associated with a keeper,
that's what you guys are after.
Is going to be on my list, yeah.
She is ostensibly a Templar who's there to purge the land of your kind, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of sorts, whether they're like an official knightly order or not, but they call themselves the Light Callers, and that sounds pretty knightly. So,
I'll say she was mumbling and grumbling about a keeper and stroking her sword. I say that we keep an eye on that one for sure.
Okay.
She seemed a little bit touched, as those with keepers get,
Oh, are you just distracting here? Because that's actually not like she's like, are you like trying to misdirect your team here? Because she's not like hunting keepers. She's
I hope he's lying to me so I can believe it.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
I just want to make sure, out of character, I want to make sure I know what's happening here.
Yeah, I'm trying to get them to, like, play Kravis against her.
Oh, so, good. Yeah.
Well, sounds like a job for you, Kravis. Perhaps you keep an eye on her, and when
I'll keep an eye on Pate.
When our friend Pate leaves, Weary and I can make sure that he makes it home safe.
That's a good idea. Plus, I can keep an eye and see who might actually follow you guys and recognize their faces. So when they find your murdered bodies in the morning, I can identify the potential criminals.
Right.
Ha! Get it?
Yes. Yes.
I start like sliding his tankard away from him.
I think you've had enough, Kravis.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
The night is growing long, and people are starting to filter back to their homes. The only people who like have rooms presently at the place are there are a couple of Lenormand traders, like fur trappers and stuff, who are down there to like sort of middleman their goods to more southerly lands. And they have a room, and they have 2 separate rooms. And then this woman who has this claymore called Shadowfucker, she has a room at the place. And then you guys have your big common room that you have hired. Most other people are starting to like filter off. Some of the old men, like the real old men who don't have a job to get to because they're retired or whatever, they're still hanging out by the hearth, like rolling dice and doing whatever they do, and swapping stories and things like that. I just want to go around the table and find out what everybody's up to. Start with Logan.
So, assuming Pate hasn't left yet, I'm still trying to figure out like if anyone around here knows anything about Isabella, because I haven't heard about her at all.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Oh yeah, so you could have been doing that like while you're chatting people up in the bar, right?
Yeah.
I'll take that. I might. We'll figure out we'll figure out what the role is in a minute. I'll ask about your approach, and we'll figure it out. What about you, Barry?
I think I go, like over to those people that were having an eye on Pate, and I challenge them to like maybe like a game of chance, like dice or something like that. And while we play, I'm gonna tell them like an ominous story about like people, like sort of like a curiosity killed the cat story to sort of like backdrop, like leave Pate alone or I'll fucking stab you kind of thing.
That's great. I want to have that scene. That's going to be a good scene. What about you, Kravis?
If I see any of the chit chatters from the funeral,
Oh yeah, good.
I will go over and I'll sit down, and this is me being pleasant. I give the blessing to the church, and say, hey, when I came in, I saw that funeral, seemed something was off, and just kind of like, hey, tell me, I'm a good guy.
So is this possibly one of your? Are we thinking this is going to be maybe one of your Templar moves? I'd like to see one of those in action.
Let's see.
Inquisition when you have a private chat.
Yeah. If I can get one of them aside, I'm playing. Yeah. Hey, man, it's all good.
Let's have that. Let's get that roll on the table. Roll charisma.
All right. For me, it's Constitution.
Oh, is that a thing?
Yes, because as a dwarf, I can use my hardy personality to lean forward.
Good. Very awesome. Very good.
Roll 2d6. Just a 7.
Okay. Looks like you get maybe 1 question possibly.
Hold 2.
Hold 2. Oh, very good. All right, we'll be thinking about that. Okay. We'll come back to it. Logan, what was your basic approach for learning this information? Like, how are you getting people to open up to you about it?
I think I'm doing like parlor tricks and things just to entertain people. And then I'm asking like, oh yeah, you ever met anyone else around here who could do stuff like this? Like that kind of thing. Not mentioning her by name, but if it comes to it and it's fruitless, like I'll start asking for her by name.
It sounds like you can make a case for charisma or intelligence. I'll let you choose, probably, because it could be intelligence because it's kind of like a plan. It's clever. But it could be charisma because you're just kind of generally being affable or whatever. So
right. I think because I'm incorporating a little bit of magic into the business.
Yeah, go with
both
that.
Intent.
Yeah.
Cool. 13.
13. Awesome. Hold that thought. And let's have that scene with the old men. Weary. There are 2 old men, 2 that were like you noticed were particularly interested in the conversation that Pate was having with Logan, and they're dicing in the corner. When you get there, you notice, well, for starters, they have like dice that are unusual shapes. Okay, like 6s, 8s, 10s, 12s, and they're talking about when you get there, they're talking about the precise probabilities of what will result when you roll certain dice. So it's like, well, that they're not even like gaming. They're just like talking about like, well, if you roll these two dice, like, over the course of like X number of rolls, you'll get this kind of probability. Like, no, that's ridiculous. When you roll the, and they're having this really like complex discussion about like probabilities on these dice. Like when you go and like, and then when you approach them, what do you do?
I think I'll challenge them and say that I bet you I could get whatever number I choose on these dice, and if I do, you let me tell you a story.
What's your plan here?
I want to, yeah, like tell them, like, be careful of fate because it comes looking and it will, hurt you if you seek it out.
Well, how do you intend to get the result that you want to get on the dice? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
When I pick them up, maybe something to do with like the rigging the table a little bit or something like that, like slanting it, and then maybe just the fact that I've like rolled so many dice that I kind of know how to like weight them and then slant the table so that I can get like a good result, or even a result that like they said they've rolled it, X amount of times, so the next one must be below a 6 or something, and then I get it.
That sounds like a tricks of the trade thing, right? Like,
yeah.
Let's see here. Yeah, that's definitely.
Yeah.
Not tricks of the trade. It's the one that lets you. What's the pickpocket one, basically? Yeah, this is the same idea, right? It's kind of like sleight of hand. I think you can roll that dex roll.
Okay. Roll 2d6. 7, barely.
Nice. You still do it, but I'll offer you 2 options between suspicion. Oh, it's going to be suspicion, obviously. I mean, I think like, first of all, the root of they're not going to figure out they're not going to necessarily figure out like what you did to get the dice to roll the way you said you were going to. What's going to happen is they're going to be very, very suspicious because statistically speaking, in terms of like probability of the chances of the dice hitting the number that you said it was going to hit are almost like unfathomable, right? Like, it like just so unlikely. And you'll notice one of them like look really furious and grab out like a little piece of parchment from his pocket and begin scratching down some notes and revising some theories, right? Or revising some numbers,
right?
Making notes about what happens. But they're like, all right, you got your result. A fine trick. And so what do you intend to do? What's your next approach here? You have their attention.
I'll say fate rarely cares about chance. It does what it pleases, just as I do. And I'm reminded of like an old story where a boy came upon like his people, like his adults talking, and his curiosity led him to wander down the street to his home, and the boy was never heard from again, kind of thing. And then that's when I like start playing with my dagger.
Oh, good.
In front of them. Yeah.
One of them will get up and say, if you'll excuse me, he goes and he kind of goes outside of the inn where there's like a couple of like big tough looking guys hanging out, like having their last mug. And he goes out and he kind of like whispers something to them, talks to them, and they kind of.
As he's leaving, I'm like, "Don't wander too far," and I like flick around the dagger.
They like a couple of these guys. They kind of like shrug their shoulders or whatever and kind of wander off. I think like basically he kind of called off like he kind of knows that what they're kind of. He knows you're watching Pate, and that and they. It's kind of a mutual acknowledgement that like, okay, we're gonna make our move right now, right? So.
Yeah, I like in the story the boy's name is like Pete or something, right?
Right, nice.
Like
He had a
will
dog
fuck you
named
up.
Weary. If you want to know why he was called Weary.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
Logan, you are at a certain point in the evening. One of the people will say, "That's a fine trick. It's a little bit like what old Isabella used to do. Like, oh yeah, Isabella. You know, like she used to do little tricks like that, right? Yeah, they totally give that up."
Okay. Isabella. I think I might have heard of her before. Is she still around these parts?
And then one of the people in the bar, like maybe even one of those old men, does a really conspicuous like, and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, she passed through. She was a really nice woman, and then we don't know what happened to her."
Oh, is that what happens around here? People just pass through town.
We're a major crossroads between the north and the south. That's what I'm told
I see.
by people in the north and the south.
Well, very good then. Suppose I'll just have to make sure that my passing through doesn't lead to no one knowing where I'm at.
They look at each other, and they look a little confused, and they're like, "Okay."
And like I go back to Kravis, and I'm just like, this town's full of shit. Like,
Let's do Kravis. What's your questions on the? And also don't forget, I'm going to give you the benefit of your +1 ongoing from last time. If I don't know if that affects your roll or not. What would you get on the dice?
Nah, it would have been just an 8.
Oh, okay, all right. So that's just want to make that clear.
So I guess the sort of the first question is just can I get them to this isn't exactly one of the things, but just to tell me who died in sort of the general
sure.
story.
Yeah. So here's what happened. The person who died, the basic story is that the person who was died murdered. His name was, we will call him Stome. And Stome was a Lenore man who had settled in Frostdale. He kind of left his tribe for whatever reason years ago. And he kind of made his living doing leather goods and things like that, right? And basically he was murdered in a fit of jealousy. Someone else in the town who there have been several there were lots of rumors about people who were kind of really jealous of Stone for some reason, and had a really burning intense jealousy of him, and one of them just went over the edge and beat him to death with a rock in his front yard in the middle of the day. And that person's been detained. But yeah.
So my second thing, the inquisitorial thing,
that's the basic stuff. You'll get that without even having to
okay.
try.
Yeah. And what's this guy's name
that you're talking to?
Yeah, let's give him a
we'll
name.
name his name is going to be Yorick.
Jorik.
Jorik.
Jorik. And I want to find out if they're hiding something, and if so, what? That's one of my questions.
Yorick is not. Yorick is being on the level here. He's angry basically that this person who committed this murder, we'll name that person Jurgen. He's angry that Jurgen was allowed to do this, and at least he's angry that no one stopped him, right? And also just the basic senselessness of it, right? Because Jurgen was jealous of the fact that he was just jealous of. I think he was jealous of something really petty, I think Stone had managed to grow a really beautiful flowering plant that shouldn't grow in this part of the world, and Jurgen was really furious about that and beat him to death with a rock in his front yard. Watered the plant with his blood, in fact.
And people saw it and didn't stop it?
Some people saw it and didn't stop it. Yeah. I mean, eventually they arrested Jurgen, but yeah. But there were a couple people, you got the sense of like, some people even think that Stone had it coming.
Oof. Well, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave him on good terms. So I'll have a hold. So if I need to go ask a local villager a follow-up question, I'll do that. I'll come to him.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, that's perfect. Cool. Okay, well, you've all learned some things. And Pate is probably going to be safe to get home, so no worries about that. Problem solved. And Kravis, you've learned a little bit about there's some fucked up shit going on in Frostdale. Something's not good in the water here. And Logan, you know that people are hiding some information about Isabella. There's a pretty plain cover-up going on vis-a-vis Isabella.
Yeah, I'm gonna hang out outside until whatever old man it was that made a real loud noise. Whenever he's leaving the inn, I'm gonna have a conversation with him.
Okay, good. Sounds good. Let's take a quick 2-minute break. All right, well, let's proceed at pace here. So we've got you have some information, you have some follow-up things to go. Thank you, David. Let's figure out where we go from here. Logan, what are you up to?
So I was waiting outside for one of them, for that old man to leave, so I can question him further.
Right. Yeah. That's the next natural follow-up scene, I guess. What about you, Weary? What would you be up to?
I was thinking about trying to coax information from Pate, especially if he keeps drinking during the night. I have this image of me grabbing some like soot from the fire and putting it in my hair and like making lines on my face, sort of like altering my appearance and acting like a drunkard and talking to him on the road or something.
I love that scene setup. I think I want to move just past the inn a little bit. So maybe like as a follow-up, like either like in the night or even in the morning, I think. But I like that basic idea though of like appearing somebody who Pate might confide to or whatever. What about you, Kravis?
I think what I want to do is essentially support them, since it looks like we're going to be outside the inn, either during the night or in the morning. And essentially, I just want to go outside, and I'm keeping an eye on things.
Yeah,
making sure that nobody's coming after or what.
I'm into that. Give me discern realities. So it goes.
Okay.
Unless you have a more appropriate Templar move.
No, I don't think so. I'm about fighting, punching, and drawing info out of people. And discern realities is int. Oh yeah, that's right. Not my forte.
Oh, it's wisdom.
Oh, that is a little more my forte. 7.
One question. You can ask it now if you want.
Look at the discern realities. Well, what should I be on the lookout for?
You'll want to be on the lookout for this woman and her Claymore Shadowfucker, because she did not retire to her rooms.
All right. Well, I get ready to murder her in the night.
Okay, sounds good. I'm into it.
I will give, at that first opportunity, I will give Weary a heads up, since he's the other one who's interacted with her.
Yeah. Cool. Let's move into that scene where you're cornering this old man. He's a little drunk on frosted ale, and he would have you know, and he's kind of stumbling out or whatever. What do you do?
So I'm going to wait for him to get a little distance, and then I'm going to try and cast a spell and catch him up in it, as kind of a way of intimidating and trapping him so that he'll tell me what I want to know.
What's the nature of the spell?
I think that it will just be like a whirlwind that will lift him off the ground.
Okay.
Not very high, but so he can't move, and he's obviously in a place of some discomfort.
Kind of vulnerable. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Like, what's it called in Zelda? Rivali's Surge or whatever, the one that like lifts you up and you can just stay there hanging in the air.
You just stay there. Yeah.
Rivali's Gale. Yeah. Rivali's a dick, by the way. I love that character. He's such a dick. So he's like, oh my god, why did the other champions tolerate this guy?
I know. I've been for that guy for like 10 minutes.
Okay, so yeah, I'm into that. Let's have your spell cast. See how it goes.
Okay. Nice boxcars. I think I still have to choose something though. Let me.
I think that's true on the mage. Let's have a look. I have to kind of remind myself how the mage
Cast
works.
a spell. When you weave a spell, roll plus int. Cast on a 10+. The spell certainly helps, but choose one. Ooh. I'll take a -1 ongoing until I have a few minutes to clear my head.
Sounds good. So yeah, he's there and he's like stumbling around, and the wind like whips up and spins him around, and he's like, oh, he's flailing around, and he's I think he thinks he's like it's just like a cause of his drunkenness. This is happening. He's like, suddenly being shaken around, but then he realizes that he's like being held up in the air by this, Sirocco or whatever. Right. And I think he's like, What are the chances of a localized windstorm lifting me into the air in the middle of the night? They are. And he begins rattling off some numbers, right there.
And I'll come like fluttering off of a rooftop where I was hiding, and I've shifted all of my robes to black to further aid me in this.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll just
I think just to set the scene, it's real. Like I just want to make sure we all have a really sharp visual here, because presently Kravis knows this is going on and is kind of like keeping an eye out, right? Like for things. And he's also got one eye on wherever he thinks this woman is, and then one eye on what you're doing. And, you know, it's dark, the moonlight, it's moonlight, like lighting up, illuminating this like white, powder white snow, you know, like kind of lane, you know, in the village. And just eerily still and quiet. It's just this old man stumbling out to the middle of the snowy street. And you just like, you know, do your thing. Well, so then what do you do now?
Right. So I come out of the darkness and I shift all of my robes to white so that I blend in better now that I'm out in the open, but so that he can see me. And I say, it's no, there was no chance of it. It was not probability.
He's like, a wizard of some sort, I presume. Let me down.
I'll let you down when you tell me about the other wizard that you silenced my companions earlier about.
He's being a little like not super talkative, and he's being a little fussy and kind of telling you off. Kravis, this might be a good chance for you to move in and put the thumb screws on him.
I will do that.
Indeed. What do you do?
Then I just move up and I'm organizing my manacles in my hands.
Mm-hmm.
Can I be on like the roof or something where you flitted down from, and I just like call out, I'm like, we should just kill him.
Because
I want to hit
Sabatol.
Well, I just wanted to hit your flag.
No. It's all good. Not gonna kill him. Just gonna have a conversation. Click clack. Click clack.
Indeed. Tell me about your approach. Like, how do you? Is it just like are you just trying to intimidate him? Do you actually like rough him up a little bit? Like, how does this go?
I'm taking my lead from Logan on this, since he's doing the questioning. If Logan is giving me the eye, like manhandle him, I will do that.
Well, I think the old man's being obstinate. He doesn't want to talk. So let's throw that out there.
Yeah, I look at Kravis and I'm like, perhaps you should throw some of your charming little pebbles and sharp instruments into the gale.
Well, then I'm gonna move up and I'm gonna start manhandling him.
I love it. Roll your move plus charisma.
Okay.
A little twist of the arm, never again.
Yeah. So I think that is Inquisition still. So
yeah.
Okay. That's a 9.
Okay. You get 2. We'll handle it in the fiction afterwards, but just ask.
Sure.
Just tell me what you're.
Can I have helped with the saying like we should just kill him?
Oh, that's good. I'll take that. Yeah. Well, plus charisma, so that he knows just killing him is on the table, right? Maybe. You're muted, Fraser.
It wasn't the best. It was a 5.
How'd it go?
It was a 5. Yeah, with a +1 even.
Indeed. You hear someone call down the way. You see a horse like clumping up the cobbles, right? And while this is going on, like you hear a horse like approaching. Remember, I said it was really dead still. There's nobody around, right? You'll still get your questions, Kravis, if you want. Like we'll say that some time passes. You're able to question him a little bit. Let me have your questions now, and then I'll get to what I'm doing.
So I want to find out if they're hiding something.
Yep.
And Jeez. I'm going to ask Logan here, if I may, or David Logan.
Yeah,
So find out who they work for, or if they intend harm. Which do you think is?
I guess who they work for.
Okay. I find out if they work for anybody, and if so, who.
This man, his name is I think my name books for some good Scandinavian sounding names. We'll name him I have a Yorick. We'll have an Auric. And Auric, to put it mildly, his profession, the way he made his way in the world, is cleaning up horse shit out of hay in stables. Okay, that is his trade, and he works for no one now. He'll have you know, he's earned his retirement, but he's definitely hiding something. And what he's hiding from you is he and a couple of other people in the town plainly know where Isabella is. Like, they know where she's at, and she's nearby.
Well, then I will use my Inquisitor special, which is, at that point, there's probably a snapping sound on his arm.
Indeed.
Where I go, hey, where?
Indeed. If you do, you take +1 hold, but the embassy will never. Okay. After hearing their answers, you can put serious pressure on them for more. Breaks and bones, threaten loved ones, or similar. If you do, take +1 hold, but the NPC will never want it. Okay. So what? So you got your hold, and now what?
Yeah. Essentially, I want to get him to tell us where.
Indeed. I think that we can probably fit that into one of these questions here. Yeah, because he's hiding this thing. Absolutely. Once you start breaking bones, he will scream out and cry out and let you know that Isabella lives in a little hut dwelling thing a little ways up the mountain, just outside the old temple, up the mountain way. And,
awesome.
And then he's like, "Now put me down." He's like screaming in pain or whatever. And that's when we hear someone clumping up the way, right?
Right. And I'll just toss him and try and use this gale to move quick as the wind, grabbing Kravis and launching us up onto the roof into the shadows.
I'm into him. Just, he's not a danger. I think he'll see you guys just wrapping up your business, right? And he'll kind of call out to you, and he'll say, hello. Does anybody know where I can get a room for the night?
Yeah, still disappearing into the darkness.
He's like, all right then, talkative bunch. And he continues,
leaving the screaming old man behind.
Weary. Yeah, he's like screaming. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think Auric is like just like screaming, like, you know, with his broken hand or bone or finger or whatever, and like runs out. You know, like he's kind of like scampers off. You know, and this guy who's on the horse, Weary, you'll still see him because you're up on the roof, right?
Yeah.
He's like, that was quite a welcoming committee. He gets off his horse and he goes up to the you see him like go up to the front of the Frosty Tankard, and he looks up at the sign and he's like, well, I should hope so. And
of course.
and he goes in to get a room.
Okay. I'll be like doing the thief thing and trying to eavesdrop from the roof, learning more about this mysterious stranger.
Oh, yeah, okay. So you're going to do that instead of doing whatever you're going to do with Pate?
Oh, yeah, right.
I mean, you can. It's fine. I just want to. You have circumstances have changed. I mean, it's no big deal.
No, yeah, I want to do the Pate thing still because I like the idea of me using the soot from the fireplace, altering my appearance and stuff.
Yeah. Cool. Well, so it's probably a little too late to trek up the mountain to the temple. It would be very cold for one thing, and then it's also just like the light's not good. A torchbearer, very good at his job. So Yeah, you were gonna go like, what's everybody doing now? I mean, you guys have some information. You've definitely figured out, Logan. You've definitely learned what you need to learn, right?
Yeah.
I'll say, Logan, excellent. So this Isabella, she's tied in with this thing. Awesome.
That's actually not established, but out of character,
That's
we
just
don't
my
know
assumption.
that.
Why else would we be going and doing that? I just broke a guy's arm for it.
It's fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, I would have used the magic of that wind to get us through one of our windows into our room, so that it doesn't seem like we were the ones out there doing anything. We were in our room.
Because people clearly care about law and order in Frostdale.
One can never be too careful when you're an outsider.
They had to have a decision about whether to arrest the rock murderer from earlier. So, great. You guys are in your room, so let's have that scene. What do you guys do?
I tell Kravis that I'm worried about the lunatic woman on the hunt for clearly touched by keepers.
Yeah, well, she didn't turn in, so let's keep an eye on her. Maybe she'll lead us to someone tomorrow. Does that seem reasonable? Because you must be tired, right?
Yeah, nice. Yeah. breaking the wall.
That was the wrong word, Travis.
Come on. He like totally he T-balled that one up for you.
Yeah. You mean like asking information about why I'm called Weary?
No, I mean just in the fiction, I think he was like I think like the natural response would have been like,
I'm weary.
Call me weary.
Or no, I'm not tired. I'm weary.
Yeah.
Either of those.
Or you're just rolling your eyes at Kravis's dumb joke. So
yeah,
those responses would be appropriate.
Well, I think it's good to subvert this because it's happening a lot now.
Well, okay, so all right, so it's getting fairly late at night at this point. I mean, where do we head from here? Okay, just sleep it off, or
I think we got to sleep it off because we've been traveling. You know?
Yeah.
I'm kind of insisting that we keep a watch, though.
I'll volunteer for that because I want to sort of be listening out for her turning in so that I can go in and like poison her or something.
Nice, good. I'm into that.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll take second watch, and during my watch, I'll be looking at this. We found those notes back with the Azure Flame.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the crazy papers I got.
Yeah, so I'll be looking at the crazy papers during my watch.
And it seems like this is pretty late, right?
Yeah, I think
Okay, yeah. So we don't need a third watch, so I'll just sleep.
Yeah. I never require more than 2 anyway. So
okay,
2 is usually enough. If you guys need hit point recovery, you guys can all go ahead and recover hit points. I'm into that. That's fine. But, as far as the first watch, not much happens. Weary. It's the night goes long. What are you doing? Like, while you just kind of like kill time, paying attention for this woman to show up.
I don't know. I think maybe I'm measuring out like that poison for dramatic effect on screen.
Nice. Okay, good. Well, your watch passes by without incident. Logan, I want the roll from you. So
okay, that's wisdom.
Yeah, I need to pull up my the.
Take watch. Roll plus wisdom. Yes. 8.
Cool. Let's see here. On a 7 to 9, okay, so it only rolls if something approaches camp. That's happening. On a 7 to 9, you react just a moment too late. The camp is awake but hasn't had time to prepare. It's not quite that situation, but this is what you this is what you hear. Just outside the window of, maybe just outside your window, like down on the street, you hear someone like whispering loudly. Does that make sense? Like they're
trying to get someone's attention, but by whispering.
Well, they're like whispering. They're trying to make it, it's almost like I am whispering because I don't want anyone to hear me, but they're clearly whispering loudly enough for people to hear them. Okay. And you hear a conversation along these lines. Fear not, Shadowfucker. We have stalked the darkness this night, and we have not located the Faceless One. But we will. Soon the light of day will be upon us, and it will reveal them. It will push them out into the open, and when the time is right, you shall drink deep of their blood.
Okay.
But the problem is, I think the problem for the 7-9 result is you don't have time to react. She like goes down a corner, an alley or something. You don't know where she ends up.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
But now I know.
Interestingly, it does not go back to her room. That's really an interesting detail here. It's quite late. She has not gone back to her room yet. Okay.
Yeah. And also, she's not looking for keepers. She's looking for faceless.
She's looking for members of the Shadow Court, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another interesting detail too.
And now I know about Weary's in untruth. Do I learn anything from these papers?
Oh, maybe. Spout lore, I guess, just to see like if you can interpret what is written through the lens of your knowledge.
I got an 11, and on a 10 plus, my mage move also fires. Where arcane learning, you are a font of esoteric knowledge. When you spout lore or discern realities about something of magical or otherwise arcane on a 10 plus, the GM will also tell you a little known secret about the subject.
Oh, interesting. So these are the collected writings of Kuroko, Keeper of the Azure Flame, former Keeper of the Azure Flame. Now she's just a headless body in the woods. And she was involved in studying the Azure Flame, which, when it's inert, is in the form of these crystals, which you have gathered up. Someone has on the party, I don't know who's holding them. And but when it's not inert, like when it's active, it is an actual like flame, usually in a brazier or a lantern or something, right? Interesting thing, the Azure Flames, you guys might already know this, but I can't remember, but the Azure Flames sort of power, Kuroko believes that the Azure Flame is actually the physical manifestation of a god of hatred called Jeserix. And the idea is that when Jeserix is in your heart, you burn with a fire, a fiery hatred. And this blue flame is thought to be some sort of like distillation essence. She ponders and wonders, maybe even Jeserix himself is contained within these crystals, right? The very idea of fundamental idea of hatred, right? That's the interesting bit. The useful bit is that there are a number of like useful properties with the Azure Flame, whereby it might be helpful to manipulate people by stoking the fires of their hatred. The Azure Flame is most useful. And she had been practicing this on those wolves in the forest, right? Getting them to like hate, like to stoke their natural distrust of men, right? And so that's what that was all about. The unknown arcane bit. I'm going to go in deeper on what we believe. This key, the Azure Flame, it is the god Jeserix. You currently hold it in your possession. So.
All right. I look at my pack very ominously.
All hatred, the hatred that burns in the hearts of intelligent, civilized races, comes from this.
Wow. All right then.
So do you want to turn that key?
Not right now.
Indeed. Well, okay, great. The night passes. Next morning, just go there. There's a little hatch that opens up in your room, and a complimentary breakfast of like fresh, eggs and milk and bread is like delivered in the hatch via a network of pulleys and drop downs. Right?
Oh man. God, I hope we don't have to burn this place to the ground.
It is a wonder. If anybody were in this place, it would be like considered a wonder of the world, right? And yet it is otherwise just a sort of like simple inn and pub in the middle of nowhere. Okay.
As we're all waking, since I was last watch and I was still awake, I will like be doling out stuff, and I will be conspicuously not doling stuff out to Weary.
Oh, that's mean. I'm hungry.
Are you hungry, or are you just... Never mind. You lied to us.
Weary's coin paid for this.
You lied to us, Weary.
What do you mean? I don't recall lying about anything.
That crazy woman is not working for keepers or anything. She's trying to hunt you.
Hunt me?
Yes, you.
Why would anyone want to hunt me?
I don't know. Why don't you tell us?
Well, I can't think of any reason anyone would want to hunt me. Perhaps a crazy person says crazy things.
I'm not denying that she's crazy. She talks to her goddamn sword. She named it Shadowfucker. And she stayed up all night long. She still hasn't come back.
Never returned to her room.
How is it that you know so much about this crazy lady and we know nothing?
I heard her last night outside. She was speaking to her goddamn sword. Also, the crystals in the bag are hatred itself.
Now, let me stop you there. Because now that sounds cray-cray.
Yeah.
Well, it is a key. I mean, and the church is deeply mistrustful of the keys, right? So that is a thing. And
I'm like, okay, Weary, is the big sword lady keeper stuff, or is it something on your personal agenda? Just all I need to know, man.
Well, I don't know. I know as much about this lady as you.
That wasn't an answer, man.
That was a real weak sauce answer, actually.
Well, I suspect that she's tied with the keepers just as you.
So you're doubling down on that, huh?
Oh, I was gonna say I am the law is only for NPCs. Otherwise,
I'm gonna kind of hunch, and I'll say, because if you said to me, personal agenda, she's got out for me, something like that, I'd have your back. Just understand that.
Well,
But if I find out that you're lying to me, there's a whole nother world that we're going to be entering into.
Well,
while this conversation is going on, you hear someone stomping down the hall, and in a very, very loud whisper, you hear them say, "Fear not, Shadowfucker. This night has passed without you drinking the blood of the faceless ones. But know that the light of this day will draw them forth, will show us what we need to see, and when the time is right, you will pierce that shadow repeatedly."
Hey, why don't I go ask her what a faceless one is?
Because you guys don't know that.
Again, loud enough so you can hear it outside, like very conveniently loud enough so you can hear it outside your room, right?
Yeah.
Like as she's walking.
No idea what a faceless one is, but I know that there's something weird going on here, so I am saying I can go ask her what they are. Can I do that?
A faceless one? I think that the only thing she'll understand is violence.
Sudden, irreversible violence.
Exactly. Why is
I moved to stand up to go and speak with this woman then.
But I'm curious, why is it that Logan thinks that she would be hunting me, though?
Because you like clearly lied about what like she was talking about when you overheard her, and I can put two and two together.
I don't know about that. Seems like a reach. That's all I'm saying about that.
Also, you're just like naturally super suspicious.
Yeah.
And it seems like the only reason you would have lied to us about it is because you were probably the faceless one that she's looking for.
Well, and also just as a sort of big picture point, like you guys normally have to do a lot of digging to find like keeper activity, right? Like to figure out what the key is, to figure out who's turning that key. And like this wouldn't just fall into your lap like this, right? It's super like suspicious, right?
Yeah.
It's super suspicious on the merits, right? Like why is she behaving this way, right? Like there's lots of reasons why she is an odd character that does not seem to fit with normal patterns of behavior. So note for self.
Right.
So I'll take a 1 beat pause.
I'll be like, all right. Jeez.
I'm gonna get some coffee. Let's take 2.
Okay.
It's an interesting break point.
Oh, wonderful.
Calling you out, faceless one.
Yeah. It's almost like lying all the time is a bad idea or something.
Now you can have some eggs.
That's the real motivation.
Yeah.
You're just that hungry.
Yeah.
Leveraging your weariness.
Yeah.
Geez, if I can fail another roll, I can go up a level.
Me too. I just have 1 away. Woohoo. All I have to do is fail at convincing somebody of something.
We've got a lot of things we need to follow up on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Seems like the most concrete things are Pate and Isabella, right?
Right. And maybe just like offing this crazy woman, like, so we don't have to, she doesn't come back to bite us later. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if she's after one of our crew, then she gets got.
Give her a little too much Tagit oil in her morning breakfast.
Exactly.
I'm sad we didn't have our crazy-eyed dwarf friend, our crazy-eyed pseudo-dwarf friend here.
I know.
Because he would have been out there reading her mind.
Yeah.
That would have made things interesting.
The abyss would stare right back.
Yeah. Or the nothing. It's just like, it was terrifying because all she thinks about is that sword.
There's nothing in her mind. There's nothing in there.
Now I have to think of like how much I want to tell you guys about the Shadow Court.
I don't need to know anything. Just need to know you're after you, dude.
Yeah.
You have to tell me anything else.
Yeah, and I pretty much just wanted the truth of the matter to be on the table. I don't care that much about, you having to reveal Shadow Court secrets.
Like even if you start to go, well, let me tell you about it. I'm like, no, don't want to know.
Plausible deniability.
Don't want to know.
Okay, so where's the scene going? Are you going to like fess up, Weary, or what? Are you going
I'll
just
be like,
distract?
I'll be like, all right. I'll say like another term for the Guild of Thieves can be referred to as the Shadow Court.
Whoa, never could have put that one together. Here's your eggs.
So I don't know why she's after me, but I have done some unsavory things in the past.
Who hasn't?
Exactly.
True. It's
true.
Well, so then we
clearly
probably
she's deranged.
All right. Well, if we cross paths with her, We know she's bad news. We'll deal with that bridge and burn it when we come to it.
Well, she must be tired after not sleeping for the day. Perhaps
She seems a little nuts. Like she might be up for another couple days, so I wouldn't count on her falling asleep right yet.
Well, my plan is if she hasn't got her like meal yet, like if they just noticed her coming, that I'll sneak it down to the kitchens and like poison her eggs and stuff with that oil.
Hey, they're moving all through these poison things. No one's attending it. You can probably just put it on there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I mean, Selma manages to run the whole inn by herself with this contraption, and so in fact, there's not much danger in you like doing that, right? Like just finding like the food that goes to her room and poisoning it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll just say that I like need to take a leak or something and go and do that.
Why are you lying to us?
Because that's what habitual liars do. Everything's a lie.
I tell you what, we're gonna gather our stuff. We're gonna go maybe peek around town a little bit. We'll meet you out there after you're done with your business.
Sure. I like how Kravis is just like, oh yeah, this bitch is dead for sure.
Hey, coming after one of ours.
Well, so let's pick up at that scene. Like you are basically kind of like staking out her room essentially, right? And like she did go back to her room eventually.
Yeah.
And you see her little food, like, you know, like you see it like being carried along like in a little like sort of hammock, you know,
yeah.
And then lowered to like the little like it's lowered and like it actually like as it like lowers down, like it's weighted in such a way that like the little hammock has like a little iron knob on it, and it like kind of swings and like taps on the door so that you know to come get your food.
Okay, yeah. When I see that, I want to like go over and put like a double dose of that poison to make her super tired and dead.
You stand there for a while, and the food just sits there. No one opens the door. No one comes and grabs the food.
This bitch is so why doesn't she just die easily? What should I do? What moves do I have? Oh, no. I was thinking trap expert, but I don't think that's what I want. So she's probably like sleeping or something.
Who knows? Do you want to try to sneak in there and find out?
Yeah. I'll give a little peek.
How? Do you open the door? Do you look over here?
Well, I think I'll do trap expert and survey a dangerous area.
Yeah, I'm into that. Let's just make it like a yeah, because if she's waiting on the other side of the door to chop your head off, I guess that'd be a trap, right? So yeah, go for it.
Or maybe some other weird light bringer magic stuff or whatever.
I specifically called them light callers so as not to reference Song of Ice and Fire.
Okay.
Point of order.
Very nice.
Because I almost called them light bringers. I was like, that sounds really familiar. Never mind. Scratch that off.
Yeah, light collar.
Yeah, light collar.
So she might have some traps. I'm sure she's, she seems like she's unhinged and might expect something. So that's a 9 on that, and that gives me 1 hold. And I'll say, yeah, is there a trap here?
There's not.
No? Okay, so maybe I'll like take the end of my dagger and that same slot where the food would come out. I'll just like try to open it a bit and give a peek into the room.
Yeah. The sword, the claymore, Shadowfucker is it's a very curious scene. You see this woman, she is like stiff and her arms and legs are kind of like like kind of like hanging to her side stiffly, and her head is flipped back, and she seems to be like floating in the air about like 2 inches. Like her toes don't quite touch the ground. And the sword appears to be like inserted into her mouth and through her body as if like she were the sheath or the scabbard, right?
Oh man.
And she's just there like hanging with the sword inside of her, and like and there's a shimmer around her body. What do you do now? You can continue studying the situation. You can continue studying the situation if you want. If you want to go a little more.
Yeah, I think I better.
Here.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Let's do that. That's wisdom or intelligence. Wisdom is that's my worst one. So we'll see what happens. 2D6. Can I do -1 on this and it will do it? No. Oh yeah, it did. It's a 6. It was going to be a 7. I almost, but I do level up at least.
You got 6. Mark an XP. Yep. I'll tell you what you see at the outset. You see this like she's like hanging in the air. The sword is like in her as if like she were its scabbard, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And at a certain and that's just happening. Like that's just kind of happening. Like it doesn't even seem like it's obviously clearly not physically possible for her to have inhaled the sword and have it like in her body, right, like that, right? So there's clearly something else going on, and yet that's what it looks like, right? You hear calling down the hall. You hear someone say, "It's that new guy, the guy who got a room last night."
Mm-hmm.
You hear him say, "Oh, excuse me, I'm looking for the latrine. I didn't manage to find it. Is it around back? Do you know?" He sees you looking through the door slot.
Right.
You're totally caught in that way.
Yeah. I like slowly put down the slot and grin at him, and I think actually my features turn from like, consternation or something to like almost relieved that I don't have to deal with her anymore, because that is some frightening stuff to look at. And then I'll actually like take him to the latrines.
I'm gonna have that scene. We'll cut away. Logan and Kravis, what are you guys up to? You're not aware of any of that, by the way.
Right. Let's go find out where this Pate lives.
Oh yeah.
Maybe check in over there.
Yeah, we better figure that out. That metaphorically beardless man.
No, let's not get into that again. Good.
That's like
Cullen. Pate's house is easy enough to find. I think he just I think that's where he was, and he was leaning against the post, right? Like, I think it's like a hereditary thing. I think it's like his whole family. His family's owned this house for a long time, and you know that because there are cordons of neatly stacked torches, like torch wood, like bundled up, like stacked neatly along the side of the house, always ready for action. The torchbearer family is. Indeed. There's no answer.
Jimmy. Jiggle.
Locked.
You want to magic this?
Simple house.
Around back.
Windows on sides and front and back.
Are the windows like shuttered or something?
You might be able to peek in.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just like look inside and see if it seems like anyone's around.
Give me a DR.
Okay.
You can take a natural aid from Kravis if you need it.
I got a 10.
Okay, cool. So what's your approach? Where are you going first?
I'm just like very obviously just like looking in the friggin' window and seeing if anyone's around. Yeah. I don't see anything. I'll go to the back window.
At a glance in the front window, you'll just see like Pate has like he's got like tables and workbenches cleared off with a number of like contraptions and devices like in various states of assemble. That might be that you might have expected to see something like that, right? If you want to go a little deeper, you can ask me a question then.
Right. What here is useful or valuable to me?
What are you trying to get? What are you trying to learn or gain? That'll help.
See if he's here.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. He is. And I think you know that because like if you just like look, you've got your eye up to the window, and if you look a little further back, you'll see that like in a room toward the back, you'll see some kind of movement. There's some kind of movement the way the light breaks or something. Like you can sense that someone's back there.
Okay, I look at Kravis. I'm like, he's in there.
Looking for a torchbearer.
No answer.
What here is not what it appears to be.
Do you go around back to look?
Yeah.
When you go around back to look, you will see Pate pacing back and forth in what appears to be his bedroom. Pacing back and forth and like clearly in some kind of thought, like going through something in his mind, right? And then you start to smell something that has a very, very rotten, foul smell. And I think the window's cracked open a little bit, and you can tell it's coming from Pate, whatever it is.
As I'm like getting ready to tap on the glass and maybe just lift up the glass and go in, what is about to happen?
He's going to be surprised, but you're going to have an otherwise very normal conversation with Pate.
Okay, and if this is any kind of magical or arcane, I will know a little known secret about this subject as well.
Oh, I'll just give you a little. I'll just go with it. He occasionally, I'll just kind of go with more of a like you just notice something is wrong and put two together that magic is afoot. At a certain point, he like turns and like this is before you've like gotten his attention. He turns and you see that he has like white milky rivulets coming out of his nose and his like eye ducts and like gliding all along his cheeks and circling into his ears and mouth and like almost like creating like a fine white network across his face. And then eventually that just like falls away and goes into his body.
Yeah, I go back around to Kravis before I do anything else. What was the key we were looking for here?
You don't know that, actually.
We don't know what key we're looking for
I don't know
here.
what it looks like.
Yeah.
There's something weird about what I just saw. Something is inside of him.
Okay, let's wait for
that's standard key behavior, though, like infecting or otherwise influencing communities. So.
Let's wait for Mr. Exhausted, and when he comes, then we'll deal with that. How's that sound?
All right. I'll just post up out back, make sure he doesn't leave without us knowing.
Perfect. I will settle myself down here on this little stool.
Did you just bring that stool for that purpose?
Absolutely. I was very cool with it.
Is that adventuring gear?
Yeah.
Nice. I'm going to cut away. Weary, you're taking this guy to the latrine. I think it's just like you go down to the first floor and go out the back, and there's like an outhouse or whatever, right? And a couple of small structures, right? And you know, he's as you're kind of going downstairs or whatever, he's like, name's Bello, and he like goes to shake your hand. He has like he looks like a warrior, a fighter, a mercenary of some sort. You know, he's got like a sort of a patchwork plate and chainmail thing going on, kind of middle-aged, a little like weathered in the face, thin hair, that kind of thing. Got a sword and a simple traveling cloak. And he says, name's Bello. And your name was?
I'm weary.
He's like, I'm exhausted. I'll tell you about it. But first I gotta take a piss. What was your name?
No, my actual name is Weary. I get that a lot.
Your name is Weary. It's really interesting. Okay. And he does not ask you where that name comes from. And he kind of goes to the back, and he's like, so you don't look like a local. What are you in town for?
Oh, we're just I'm with a few other people, and we're just passing through, seeing the sights.
He's like, isn't this something? And he all the contraption, of the place. He's like, it's amazing. He's like, I've traveled into like cities, and I've seen some of the wonders of the far south. I've been in the court of King whatever, and I've never ever seen anything like this. It's unreal.
Indeed, this is the kind of magic that I can get behind. It looks like it could be at least understood once you find out what it does. Magic is unfathomable to me.
He's like, well, I don't know about you, but where I come from, we believe that the people in the north are frankly dullards, and this does not conform to my impressions of what they would be like. Well, I hope you and your companions find what you came to look for. Hey, frost ale or frosted ale? What's your opinion on the matter?
I think that any kind of ale is good drinking. How about you?
Diplomatic answer. Very good. And he goes and I try to stay out of politics. I like that. David's note. I try to stay out of politics. He's like, he goes and he says he bid you farewell, and he's like, oh yeah. He's like, I should have guessed they were back here.
And then maybe like as he's walking away, I'll do the like. So what are you in town for? You didn't say.
He's like, oh, I'm just, well, I'm a mercenary, and I've got a long list of people that I'm trying to track down. You better not be on my list.
I like put up my hands kind of thing, right? Yeah, like, oh no. Yeah. Well, I hope you find the ones you're looking for as well. This place is not somewhere that I would like to linger.
Indeed. I don't know if I said his name or not, but his name is Velo, Vello.
Okay, Velo. And he's a mercenary hunting people.
Yes.
There's a lot of hunting going on.
A lot of hunting going on. It's in this world. It's our first line item for dealing with problems.
Yeah. Man, that. Yeah, I think maybe I wonder if I go to the church to try to get more information on this, because as far as I know, like I've never seen no light bringer be like sheath as a sword and shit. Like this seems like an extra tier of shit going on.
Possibly. I'm gonna keep going with you leaving that scene in a minute, but I want to cut back over to the other group. You saw this weird stuff going on with Pate. Well, what's your guys' next move? Is there a next move?
We were waiting for Weary was the plan.
Yeah.
Okay, you can meet up with Weary. No big deal. Weary, you can meet up with them.
Sure.
Maybe the church is on the way. Done.
Yeah.
Things go okay?
I think I'll actually tell you this because, like, you're a Templar. Maybe you can tell me what's going on. But I opened up the crack and I saw the crazy lady hovering in air with her mouth agape, and the Claymore shadow fucker was inside of her, and she was it will give me nightmares.
Can I ask a minor question of you, Weary?
Mm.
So she didn't eat the food then. She didn't get poisoned, right?
No, yeah, she is still alive, I guess. I don't know what she is.
Please tell me that you disposed of the food.
Oh, I didn't poison it at all.
Oh, good. Okay, just making sure, because didn't want to kill everybody in the inn somehow if it gets thrown back into the pot or whatnot. So
Yeah, I give like a little laugh.
Have I heard of anything like this Templar sheath sword crazy lady?
Yeah,
Maybe,
like
and maybe we'll get a spout lore out of it in a minute, but
Okay.
or next time. But I want to end the session real quick because we're closing in on time.
Sure.
You hear, you hear across the way, crunching through the snow. You hear that loud whisper again. The day is still short, Shadowfucker. Fear not. We will hunt the darkness this day. We will chase it out of the corners like a rat, and then you will take it. And then and you see her skulking across. And we'll cut there.
Good.
this chick's like scary.
So, all right, cool. Let's do it in a session. I feel like everybody hit alignment or hit flags. I noticed. Did everybody hit a flag? Did anybody not hit a flag?
I think so.
Or we're trying to hit a flag and weren't sure.
Yeah.
I think everyone got the flag.
I remember flag hitting happening. So you guys, it led to some good scenes. So yeah, go ahead and mark an XP there. Let's talk about. Let's look at the alignment statements here. Kravis, deny mercy to a criminal or unbeliever. I kind of dug how you handled the old man, even though you didn't like kill him. I think it was. I think it felt like really like in the same vein of like what you would do, because you went kind of straight to like breaking his hand, and he's an old man. That seems really neat to do. So you can mark an XP there. Okay. Logan, what is yours? Magical mystery.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
User Flame. Yeah, I know.
Flame, Jezrex, mark an XP. And Where? What is yours?
Mine's the leap into danger without a plan.
Oh, I think you might have done that a couple times. I think like, well, you had a plan when you were like stalking out the woman's room, so maybe that doesn't quite qualify. I don't know. Do you want to make a case for anything else?
Yeah, I think it's hard to make a case for it because I always am gonna try to do the like thief think quickly thing, but also go into danger a lot. So I don't know.
I do think it was kind of in the spirit of it, of like you just freely conversing with this mercenary who just saw you like spying on this room, right? We don't know what his intentions are, but it could be a situation where like your better instinct might have been to like just get out of there and make yourself unknown. But you did kind of just like go with it with no idea of where that was going. He could have taken you out back and choked you out, right? Like could have gone anywhere. So I'll take it. Mark an XP. It felt cavalier. And let's do 3 questions. Did we learn something new and important about the world? Oh yeah, several things. You guys did a lot of investigating. Go ahead, mark an XP. Did we overcome a notable monster or enemy? That I don't think happened. Don't think that quite happened. Did we loot a memorable treasure? Not sure about that either. I don't think that really hit. So, with all that said, how's everybody doing on XP?
I'm over by a few.
Yeah, I'm over. I think we're all over. Can we just like level up, or do you want us to wait for something?
I want to see what the next scene is going to be, but then as long as you like kind of continue having downtime in town, yeah, you can level up. If you guys like immediately start marching toward danger, then no. Cool. That was really fun. That was just about. That was actually perfect. It was kind of right tone wise. I really enjoyed it. It was. It felt like a mystery, which is what I wanted. I wanted there to be like a mystery, and the tone I thought was really, there was a good like funny tone going on like on the surface, but then like there was this like lower level of like maybe not so funny stuff going on, which kind of underpinned it all. So I enjoyed that. And yeah, that's my overall feeling is it's unfurling as I hoped, which is it's a village, an interconnected village mystery with things going on. And I thought everybody's like table banter was really good. I enjoyed watching the characters have scenes together. I thought it was really enjoyable. They felt very lived in terms of like vis-a-vis one another. So that's my feedback on the session.
Yeah, this didn't feel like the first adventure this crew has gotten up to. So
it felt like it felt like you guys had been together, and you had a history, and that I thought it came across really nicely.
Yeah, especially all the the weary jabs, like it feels like
that's
been happening for ever, right?
yeah. There's that part of it. I like I just like the general sort of the way Kravis responds to Logan's weird metaphors.
I think I've been trying to explain magic to him forever.
Yeah, exactly. The way you guys both kind of go in on Weary's name, just all that was really fun to watch. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, and I'm really digging everything about it. The only thing I want to know more about with any of the characters is Kravis. It's just because I don't know much about D&D and stuff. I just don't know much about Templar stuff, so I'd like to hear more about that.
Well, so it's actually not so much a D&D thing, right? As much as it's a historical thing. D&D didn't have a class called Templar. That wasn't a thing that I recall.
Oh, they didn't.
I mean, Paladins kind of were that, I guess, but
Cavaliers,
Cavaliers a little bit. But the idea though behind the Templar is that if you think about the historical Spanish Inquisition or the Crusades, and basically this idea of people who serve the church and smoke out heretics, usually doing so with brutal tactics. That's kind of what that's one historical.
And I mean, it comes out of other things like the Knights Hospitaller, where they would establish little holdings so that travelers, they would protect them on the way. But eventually they got a lot of money, and then they were tied in with the church, and they got really corrupt.
Yeah.
So is a Templar a wandering warrior priest thing?
No, not a priest.
Vineyard. It's like a dog and dogs in the vineyard. Although they have a religious function, I suppose. But not a priest. That's you're right. Yeah. It's like a.
They're like the church's. Yeah, they're just the church's sword.
Yeah,
and whatever they think that they should be doing, they do.
Right.
And so, but are you do you have as much faith as a priest would in the system, or are you just the arm of it?
I am certain that there are Templars that have a lot of faith.
Okay.
Not me.
There are probably some true believers in there. There are probably some just doing it for the money, right?
Yeah, right. And a lot of them just doing it because it's the thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that sounds cool. Yeah, any kind of time when you have ideas about lore about that, I'd like to hear cool stuff about that, because we've got the magic going, and then we have the inverted church action and stuff like that. So the Templar stuff would be cool to add to it.
Well, and one of the things the backstory of the order, right? Which if Garrett had joined us, I think we're going to get some of that. But
because that's going to tie into my sort of shift from being idealistic to super fucking cynical.
Right, because you guys were going to have that scene, but it never happened. Yeah.
That's too bad. But he apparently, when he's in Costa Rica for several weeks, and his internet is apparently, he thought it was going to be better, but apparently it's pretty bad.
No big deal. I like a 3-player game, honestly. I never feel bad about that, because it just creates a much more you guys get a lot more spotlight time for one thing, and then also I just like this sort of, there's something about a 3-person dynamic that gives you a certain type of feeling, and I'm always into it. So
it's my PBTA sweet spot too. I think.
Yeah. I mean, I do 4. It's not a big deal. I like 4 too. 5 is really too much. 5 is where it really starts to push.
I think 3 is actually, if you're doing any kind of investigation, 3 is
really
good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's and I do like to. I mean, I run Dungeon World like an investigation game. It's just what I do. It's half investigation and then half doing the thing.
Yeah. So I think it's ironic that my character is trying to be the most secretive one, but we know the least amount about Kravis. It's just kind of funny for me, because I'm just Kravis is the biggest mystery.
Indeed. Well, it's super fun. I don't have anything else.
It was awesome.
very enjoyable. I really liked having you guys. It's a good group. I feel so good about this group. Like a really fun group. And hopefully we'll get Garrett next time. And I think we'll just if we have Garrett next time, we'll just love letter him and figure out what he was doing. Like maybe he's learned something about what's a little further ahead on the road. So
that sounds good.
Be a good thing to do there. And we'll stop.